Welcome to Corey's Canine Corner. I'm Virginia Mann, and I'm here today with Dr. Jerry Klein, a veterinarian who also is a breeder of purebred dogs, and he's a dog show judge.
Yeah, just terrier breeds and some hound breeds, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk today about what is the dog show? Why do we have them?
Well, dog show started in England, and they were a mean of bringing your dogs in and having them evaluated by an impartial judge, evaluating them against a written standard, and that means a standard of perfection. And it's like a blueprint of a breed. So every breed has a standard, a written standard. Every AKC recognized breed, I should say, and there's 200 breeds.
And you have Afghan Hounds.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the things in the breed standard for Afghans?
Well, the standard was written by the every breed's national club. So Afghan Hounds were written by the Afghan Hound Club of America. It was written up in the 50s, and it hasn't really changed. And it's a description of how an ideal Afghan Hound, they've been around for thousands of years, how the people that kind of brought them over to America and all that thought they should describe the best way for them to function. So how big they should be, how proportions, the basic things about coat color and texture, but also running gear, because they're a hunting breed. They're a primitive hunting breed. But what makes Afghan Hounds a little bit different is they have unique characteristics. They have something called profuse top knot, big feet, because the terrain they had to deal with, like rocky terrain, they have to kind of be able to be very agile. They have a distinctive ring or donut tail, prominent hip bones, two textures of the hair, saddle, short hair, naturally, and long hair. So these are distinctive to an Afghan Hound. So a judge evaluates a dog against that written breed standard.
Okay, and so how do you compare, if I'm comparing an Afghan Hound to an Afghan Hound, I understand they're judged against their standard,
Right.
Okay, it might be a little easier. How, when you're judging best in show, do you compare an Afghan Hound to a toy poodle?
Well, I'll be perfectly honest. At that point, you're still not comparing them to each other. You're comparing each breed to its own breed standard. But when you get to the upper levels of best in show, especially at some of the larger shows like Westminster, there's the X factor involved too. And that's, you'd like to think that it's all objective, but at some point, stars align and something, the light hits them in the right way and things just happen. And I'm not going to lie that sometimes your heart goes to something. You try to judge with your brain, but sometimes your heart kind of plays a part into it too. So you try to keep things in check and you judge accordingly. But at the breed level, especially when you're doing really kind of specialty judging, really extensive one, you really try to judge to that standard. But when you get to the levels of best in show, you like to think that those dogs are good enough they got to that level. So you have sometimes extrinsic factors that kind of play into it.
Yeah, I think we've all seen, if you've watched a dog show, you occasionally see that dog who's just on.
They have a moment,
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes it's great, sometimes you realize, oh, I'm judging. I got to, it's because you get involved in it. Oh, so it's really beautiful, but I got to point to the dogs now. Yeah, I got to finish my job. Yeah, I can't just be a spectator. Yeah.
So for many years, when I was growing up, dog shows were all confirmation about judging the breed to its standard.
Yeah.
And we watch them run around the
ring.
You
see it on TV.
Not really understand.
People always say, well, why do they always go in that direction? Well, that's just, you do it because it has this kind of regimented way. But they're always judged at the trot, and they're not galloping and they're not walking. And the reason for that is based on horses, actually. It was based on soundness exam. Because at a trot, you can see if a dog is limping. And so you can't hide a limp when a dog is trotting. In fact, when a dog comes into my clinic and the owner says he's limping, I'm not sure what foot he's on, I said, well, take him out here and they walk. I can't tell if they're walking. Break him into a trot. Pretend you're at a dog show. You've seen it on TV and trot him, and then you can usually tell because the trot causes them to bear weight on certain areas because it's synchronized gait. So you can tell it's the left front or the right rear, whatever they're limping on. So when they move, you're evaluating soundness. That's if a dog is crippled in the worst case scenario, or it's just I'm lame. But also if a dog is working as a complete unit, they hold their shape, their outline. They're not just being propped up by the handler, but naturally they're a dog that their back holds in the proper shape. Their neck is coming out at the right angle. It's not like a goose shape, and it's proper for that breed. Because an Old English sheepdog moves differently than a Basset Hound, which moves different than a pointer. So you have to evaluate the way that breed moves for its breed. The general soundness is pertinent for all breeds, but every breed has a distinctive gait that you have to judge against.
Okay. So conformation is one part of a dog show.
Yeah.
Today, though, there's a whole lot of different things
There's
going
many,
on at
many,
dog
many
shows.
events around, and you can look into it. AKC has something called AKC events, and there's things like agility, which is one of the fastest growing sports, obedience, rally. There's fast cat, there's scent hound, there's even trick dog, and there's my whining show dog in the background, who's really just a house dog when he's not at dog shows.
Okay. So today, at some of these events, it's not just purebred dogs anymore, right?
No, the confirmation is because that's evaluating breeding stock, so they can't be neutered or spayed. But some of these other events, you can have a dog that's spayed and or neutered, and so in many cases, you can compete at these events with your spayed, neutered, even mixed breed dogs. They have to be registered with the American Kennel Club for the only reason that they have to be able to be honored if they win. You want to be recognized by a certain way and figure out how to identify a certain dog. So if you have a dog and you think you may want to get involved in a sport event or a companion event, look into it and maybe you can get involved. What I like to tell people is you get to meet people that you may have never have met. You go to places you may never have gone. I know that my life is pretty different and throughout my lifetime because I got involved in this. I know people around the world that I probably never would have met. I know many of my friends in Chicago who are well traveled, have different kinds of friends, but I think it's just a great way to kind of immerse yourself and your dog in this world.
And if you're thinking about getting a dog, is a dog show a good place to?
It's one of the best places you can go, especially to a large show that has different breeds available because you can see all the possibilities. And there's 200 American Kennel Club recognized breeds. And some breeds we all know about, like French Bulldogs and German Shepherds and Dobermans. But I think we talked about, my friends wanted to get a doodle, which I have nothing against doodles per se. But when I showed them different breeds, they got a breed called a Barbet, which is a French water dog. It kind of looks like a doodle, but it's actually, I think it's they've been around for years. They have less health concerns than some of the doodles that I've seen. And they love that breed. They fell in love with it. And long story short, they're showing they're going to have their first Barbet litter next month. So there's many different breeds that people may not have known they're going to fall in love with. So it's like, something to at least be aware.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Dr. Klein, for shedding some light on dog shows.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see you at one soon.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.